That's a good question. Probably not. Um,
Yes. He was going to increase his agility from 2 to 3.
Um, Most likely, I was thinking of leveling up some of the aptitudes. Is that a possibility there? Yeah, so I think I'll level up focus from 1 to 2. Do we have to pick one of those? Got it. Cool. Yeah, so we could theoretically uh, work alongside any of those. Yeah. Cool. Okay, makes sense. I can jump in. So for me, most of the time my character spent was at the Celebrin Arcane University, I believe is what it's called. Um, Francis managed to get a Q6 spell book, which was pretty awesome, and unlock the first spell. He's now knows how to blink. And there was kind of a bit of a training montage scene. Zara was also there, so Zara is also in that training montage, learning how to cast light. Um, And yeah, so and I think Francis learned a couple things like some limitations of the blink spell and things like that while during the training montage. And I'm sure he'll continue to try and test the boundaries of what's possible with that. Same with Zara. Zara actually failed to cast light, but that kind of, she's younger, so it kind of makes sense maybe that she's still trying to figure things out. And then Henri was at the Thieves Guild, but was so I guess that wasn't he wasn't there actually. So nothing to say about Henri.
All right. Elros was with the group. Um, he got himself a decent book as well. Let's see, it was a quality four book. He went and helped to get a teacher to help the goblin that was at the school because they were having issues with bullies. When the goblins took us back to their place, where we got to meet all their goats, and then Elros was sick and left the room. Glup went to the Thieves Guild, and Kyleo went to learn at the Applied Thaumaturgy.
So I spent the day learning magic. There was a bard that taught me something about light, and otherwise, I had a great time. Met a goblin. Haven't seen a goblin in a while, and had a wonderful time. I'm excited to continue to become a great wizard.
All right. So Christazar learned or was able to make a decent book also. So hopefully that'll be useful later because not quite ready to learn things. Specifically the um, education portion. Can't quite learn spells scholastically yet. But majorly just tagged along for everything. And then it did not go in the smelly goblin room because no thanks. But that was pretty much it for him. And then on a note, it was kind of divided between everything, but I feel like now that there's a little more in applied thaumaturgy, I don't know if it makes sense that Mina was doing Fishing Guild, if there's something she can learn from applied thaumaturgy, but there's like nothing she can learn from Fishing Guild. But I don't know how we could deal with that later, but yeah, I think that the main thing was that like engineering fell into the other guild, like the mining cooperative that's gone, and so but you've reapplied the applied thaumaturgy a little bit, and so it's like it makes sense now. But like yeah, so there was nowhere for her to go, but now there is kind of somewhere for her to go. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Or maybe while she's there, she's like realizes, man, I really don't like fishing.
Well, I think from her perspective, she was like, if I was her, it would be like, I'm gonna try this water thing one more time. I'm not gonna drown in a cave. Okay, the water thing's not for me. All right. Even on a boat, I'm not into it.
Spent most of the day vomiting over the side.
Yeah, you read my mind.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
All right. I think I'm the only one who hasn't gone yet, right? Um,
We'll do.
so Nest was at university and befriended a goblin, um, and did spend quite a significant amount of time in the horrible stinky goblin room. And has learned really for the first time in their life about goats and is intrigued more than horrified, in fact. Um, and has invited said goblin, whose name I wish I remembered off the top of my head. It's in my notes somewhere, but I don't have them out yet. Um, to come back to the orphanage, uh, where they get to tell about this mysterious moss that the kids found. Um, Araxi spent the day, predictably, with the fishing guild, trained up uh, their agility and perception. Agility is now 3, perception's now 2. The intention with Araxi is to go down the hardcore parkour line, but I'm going to have to find some place to train athletics as well. Acrobatics is athletics is not. All right. Well, that's where Araxi will be spending a lot of time. Um, and Wampy was at the Applied Thaumaturgy Guild. Um, they're um, technically they worked in research and development, but um, they quickly got bored by all the stiff science nerds and started roaming around. um, work and trained up some labor, just finding stuff to do, as well as training up their cutting. So now that they have an aptitude to 3 as well as all the others at 2. Because dice.
Too many docs.
my vote once again is to check in with the refugees.
Plus one for that.
I mean,
Yeah,
refugees.
sure, refugees.
I know it's not time limited, but it feels like it's time limited.
It feels like something we should do earlier. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Araxi. So, with regards to Wampy, there's no spot currently right now for Wampy to trade either their druidic intuition or their solipsism intuition. Wampy would like to figure that out by skipping school and trying to find something. I think you suggested for the druidic one was talking to the staff. Um, I don't even know where to begin for solipsism. So, Wampy is going out there and talking to his staff about both direct magic, but also solipsism, and just see if like there's some magic overlap somewhere. Okay. Unfortunately, don't have the tax to recover, but all right. And Ness is going to school, yes. Yeah.
When we say refugees, it basically just means anybody coming from the village. Okay. Um, I I think yeah, I'm also thinking along the lines of like the vested interest if we did a renown bring um to get them to come in the first place. Um, so I think it'll be Mina today. Yeah, I Cofric's easy, so just Cofric to guild or school again, whatever we want to say. Chrysalizar, I feel like we do the balance, right? Like so, last time was magic, so this time Crimson Academy. I think he's Planet Thaumaturgy. Yes. ATG. Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah. It was
Henri will be going on the adventure today. And the other two will be going to SAU.
I think Reggie will go along to say hello to people, and yeah. Mari will be going to school, and Shari will be working on the ship, whatever ship the let her on. Yes. Um, um, what's the difference? I want to learn, so I'll go there to learn.
I think I think it's very reasonable for to be doing this at the behest of Lorpin, in which case telling Miss Mabel is not an issue. Right. We have this for you from Miss Mabel, and like hand whatever was given for Grammy. I assume that they're like labeled envelopes, basically.
Yeah, it was a shame we couldn't. It was the thing was too heavy, or I guess because there's no ocean here. Sad we had to leave the salt maker back. It's a little hard to make ice cream here. Well, it should be back there once this is all over. It will be. This everything will turn out right.
Well, how are you guys doing? It must be really tough having to leave your home so urgently. Yeah, there must be some place in town that could use someone with your skills.
Well, we could talk to Miss Maybell and see if uh, we always need someone to make the kids to sure the kids have proper food and stuff. We could see if the city will be allow us to get a chef in the place, and we know someone personally that's an expert at cooking for us.
Well, we're all in like the guilds and stuff. Like I'm sure that you all have talents that could join the guilds. Like Lorpin and Lowendahl are with us in the fishing. But yeah, there's a lot of guilds. He threw us a bunch of pamphlets. I only read one, but I'm sure they would need or find a place for people to use their skills at least until they can go back.
Reggie is from Celebrity. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just say it's like donations not really our speed, I say. Scratching at my rights and properties badge.
Well, with my well, the guild I'm in, potentially some property could become available, depending on if they paid or not.
Reggie says the Rights and Properties Guild doesn't really donate unless they're required to. And if they're required to, they still don't donate. But the Thieves Guild takes the money and then donates it on our behalf. We're happy to help.
Now I'll make sure to help donate then.
The moon fell out of the sky. I'm sure the Thieves Guild can run things. Um, well, like some of us have like internships or apprenticeships. We could say that we know about somebody who's really skilled in like the ones um and like their skills, and they can at least get you inside and get you a place to sleep that's not a camp, right? Yeah, the people in our all the armor, they came and they gave us a bunch of pamphlets for like all the guild like internships and stuff, and some of us are there. I only read the fishing one. I'm sure there's others. Araxi has no idea because
Reggie says. Reggie says, "No, the Provisioners Guild's been out of commission for quite some time. They got on the wrong side of the mining cooperative at one point."
I do wonder, like, so with the Thieves Guild, they are enforcers, like for collecting money from people who owe money. Isn't that right? So, like, I'm wondering if I might be able to cook up some dirt or find some dirt on people, like who owes money. Therefore, might be able to like entice them to do a favor.
Yeah, the Thieves Guild is like the IRS. If the IRS didn't actually require you to file your taxes, they just came into your house and you just found some shit missing from your jewelry drawer occasionally, and it was rough, and you just kind of shrug and say, "Well, I guess that's what I owe."
Got it. Yeah, like I'm just throwing in ideas for like what Henri might be able to do with his connections of the Thieves Guild. That like that's a potential option. I don't know if anyone else has any uh, ideas for their guild.
For the Thieves Guild, we could find out where they're like when things are getting more boosted for like certain areas, and maybe they have more money so they can hire more people. So maybe able to send people in those areas that are more wealthy.
Nest would have mentioned it. I'm pretty sure,
Oh yeah,
but
because they were going to tell
Araxi wouldn't
the
have been listening. So,
yeah, because they were going to tell Miss Mabel about the skulls that live there.
who from the is it everybody from the village except Loadal and Lorpin right now, or in this camp? Right. Well, I was just asking, like, did the miller like manage to find a spot or anything? That's why I was asking. So my thought is that Aubrey and Larity in particular would be useful to like several guilds in the city. Like there's an argument for like the fishing guild, there's an argument for applied thaumaturgy, there's an argument for even though they don't have innate magical abilities, they still like make things, right? Um like it feels like there's a lot of places that we can find um for some of them. And if we could get some in again, like we might be able to get the rest in as well. Just because if we have like kids there, they say like I don't know how known it is that the kids are orphans, like to the guilds, like that these are orphans specifically chosen by the Crimson Guard or whatever. Yeah, right, right. Um, but if we go there, we say we know a really skilled blacksmith who's out in the camp right now, who you might need to do something. Maybe that would work. That's my current plan because I don't know if we as children are going to be able to pull off a con to get land assigned to.
Well,
Reggie says so. Like the rights and properties isn't really big on donations, but they're very big on business and independence. So like all of you guys can do things. Like you have skills. There's a lot of kind of maybe fixer uppers that have kind of fallen apart with the. There's just a lot of empty houses in a lot of places. Some of them have some burns. Some of them aren't really great. The city's been pretty depopulated since last I was here, so there's a lot of just sort of dilapidated areas. And if you're interested in starting up a new business, I know like I can talk to the rights and properties. Um, they have an interest in getting new businesses into the city, especially if they're startups and can provide useful stuff. But like you guys are millers and blacksmiths, there's kind of a lack of those right now. A lot of them are either out of the war effort or were taken by Cinder.
What if we as the whole town all work together to open up a business that we all use our best skills at to run and make succeed with one of those fixer uppers?
Reggie's eyes are like sparkling right now.
um, yeah, like I wonder if the sheriff could offer up his skills to the like there's guards in the town or something, or potentially maybe the Crimsons.
The sheriff, he could be the bouncer for our new business.
Yeah, we could name it. We could name after Oakbrine and everything. And then, but we're going to need like everybody from the village to all be in on this.
Reggie shrugs and says, "If you're opening a business, it's good to have private security. It's the normal way. You can't just really rely on the state to take care of you and protect your assets, right?" Reggie shrugs and says, "They want the city to be back together and the economy to start running again. The rights and properties makes money off of trading of goods and economic activity. Whenever somebody buys a cup of tea, they get a little cut of that based on the transaction, right? So it's stamped tea or something like that. Anything that comes into the city, if you buy goods from outside, and they take care of the tariffs. If you send goods out of the city, they deal with the tariffs, right? They deal with licensing and all the other stuff. The problem right now is that they're in a pretty weird spot because there's a lot of people who just don't really have a business, um, and there's a lot of, what do you call it, barter going on, and so they can't really get into that. Yeah, the city's not really functioning right now. To get it back into order is of great interest to them, and they're willing to put investment in people who can do that. Reggie says, "Indeed."
Yeah, and Glup will like slip Penkel like a thieves guild pamphlet just in case.
Reggie says, "Contrary to popular belief, the Rights and Properties Guild, unlike some other guilds, really doesn't have any problem with the Thieves Guild. It actually reduces their overhead for computing taxes and figuring out how much they have to pay. They just don't worry about it, and then eventually it just gets taken out of their coffers. It's totally fine."
Well, I've been learning from the best to not steal.
Reggie just says, "The Thieves Guild is it's an extremely efficient form of taxation."
Araxi doesn't understand any of this and jumps up high in the air and says, "Let's go found a business."
Yeah, and Glup will like give Penkel a wink and he'll like flash like a piece of jewelry that's around his neck. 'Cause that's from his storage.
Um, Reggie knows where things are in the city.
Yeah, like I guess we're looking for some of the more places that are either the guild that his guild or places that are more like have less people that might have places to be able to get.
So it sounds like we need to find an up and coming area with some rundown places, vacant places that we can potentially get ownership of, so that the people in the town can
Something
open
that
up their shops.
something that presumably would be cheap. We should also talk to the miller, actually, wherever the miller's set up, because the miller has money.
Well, I
And the
wonder, like, if there's any way that if we come to them with like a group deal where we're like, "Hey, you've got like 6 abandoned buildings down this same area. Like, clearly this area is run down. We could revitalize this entire area by bringing in an entire like suite of like stores. Um, but we would need them to front us to like allow them to open the shops for free. I don't know how realistic it is to convince them of that, but
the problem, and this is just a little like business thing, like if we set up in a completely rundown area like the cold spot, they might not get business. Is the problem because if people aren't going there for a reason, and the business does not address that reason in any way.
yeah, I wasn't thinking of the cold spot. I just was wondering if we could use the Rights and Properties Guild knowledge of the town to like find a decent spot that's like an up and coming area.
But again, it's one of those like people are not going there for a reason. Yeah,
The Libre is quite large though. The cold spot's just a small area.
but there's presumably a lot of bad things. So Araxi has this idea of the whole town coming together to fund the business, so that when the war is over, they can go back and rebuild. And so Araxi, I think, is like, we should go talk to the miller. The miller's has money. Miller can like help us front like some property or something, with absolutely no concept of the idea of actual property ownership.
Yeah, so we should probably potentially find the business first then. So do we want to go to the Rights and Properties Guild?
Okay, I'll take you over to the Rights and Properties Guild, and I'll see if I can get you to talk to one of their business people. Their new business startup people.
Yeah. Like, is there? You think there's might be some abandoned buildings like just outside of the cold spot, or you
Well,
think that's still too close to it?
here's a thought. The orphanage was an abandoned building. I'm sure there's abandoned buildings by it as well. Buildings
Reggie,
don't get abandoned all, just one at a time.
Reggie says the orphanage is in an abandoned mining cooperative manor. There's a lot of abandoned mining cooperative manors right now.
And then we'll be right close by.
Well, also, how much property do we need? Is it just one spot, or are we trying to?
Reggie
Like,
says
we're
the
trying to set up
problem.
a storage and a
We're
front.
we're, we're trying to set up a business where the whole town has come together to raise money to rebuild their own town.
Reggie says it depends on what you want to do. I mean, the manors are probably cheap and they're maybe a little bit run down, but they're big, and you can probably get them for a good deal. It would be a good investment, I suppose, in the
We've
future.
got
But
we've got a carpenter and a blacksmith
yep,
o-
yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
payroll. Is that the right term? Look, like looks to Penkel on the payroll already.
Reggie says, yeah, about that. I mean, there's like keeping domesticated animals inside the city limits. There's some things on that, but the manners are good, but they're not really accessible. So if you want like a out of the way bed and breakfast, that might be a good idea. If you want a storefront to sell food directly, then maybe we're looking somewhere in the Warrens or even on the main street. Though I don't really know if there's openings on the main street. That's kind of difficult to get into.
Um,
Do we have any marketing wizards?
I could put on athletic shows.
I can slide in pamphlets in everywhere.
Yeah, we can have people redirect. So even if we're off the area, we have like people set up in the main square telling you to head this way.
I could potentially see if I can see where the money traffic is going with my guild and see where we can where I potentially go be to, or like if they're going to be starting to put a bunch of money in an area, we can get there first. I got decent training in trade. Learned from the best. Yes, and if we need to potentially influence the numbers to go that way.
Like, where is this South character? Where is the money going right now? Like, where's the revitalization effort focused?
So,
Thought real quick. We have a blacksmith on board who is more than capable of making weapons, who wants to be rich so that she can compete for the girl she likes. We have something here.
yeah, potentially find see. I could potentially go and see if there's any blacksmiths that are like potentially in debt trouble and they need help and may be able to get their business for a lot cheaper, and then see if there's a restaurant in the area that we can also do that with.
My thought was to pitch as a opening weapons armorsmith and just expand from there with the money that presumably will come in quite quickly because of the urgency of the war effort.
I was going to go to the thieves guild and just like just yeah, ask questions there. Yes. And I'll see if Penkel's allowed to come along with me.
I will also join you. I might be able to help out.
The Thieves Guild knows better. Above all guilds, they take security. Yeah.
They probably already know all about him before he even entered the city.
Um,
A potential restaurant and also a blacksmith around the same area that are either in debt or like currently like in trouble, that we might be able to sweet talk them into giving them a savior moment and buying their businesses to be able to like get a move somewhere else more productive.
I'm trying to get some intel basically on. I'm not sure if the thieves market would be able. This might be more rights and properties, but I was thinking of like seeing where there's an increase in potential in a certain area. I guess from the thieves guild angle, maybe that might be. I want to I like find the Venn diagram of an area that has vacant houses and doesn't have a lot of debt, or their debt is on a downward swing because like things are doing well there.
so I just want to bring up that it doesn't necessarily have to be a blacksmith slash weaponsmith and a restaurant that's going out of business. It could be any business, just so long as we can put a weaponsmith and a blacksmith and a food one there, right?
But if it's already a well-known place to have a blacksmith stuff, it'll be
Here's my thought. They are in such high demand right now that it doesn't matter. That is bringing traffic to an area that doesn't have traffic. Like if you find, say, a textile shop that is closing or is in financial trouble because all their customers are going off to war, you can buy them out, put in a more urgent place of business there, and drive traffic there.
yeah. My only thing is that then they already have a bunch of the tools there already, so they have to like remodel the places.
Okay, so I guess it makes sense then that the blacksmith would drive traffic wherever we go. Then it doesn't matter about finding a place that's up and coming. We're going to make it up and coming. So I guess
That's
I'll
what I'm
just
trying to say here. Yeah.
yeah, I can just help in any way with as far as identifying as many locations as possible. My thought is it'd be nice if we can get a location for each of as many of the refugees as possible, because they each have their own like separate business models. So it'd be nice if we had a place for the blacksmith, a place for the carpenter, etc.
Well, I thought I don't know if they're all going to open up business. I thought the idea was basically to put them all in one area so that their businesses help each other, essentially.
Yeah. I was trying to think of, because you said it was investigation cunning, you said? Yeah. Yeah. Trying to figure a way to instead do trade or crime.
Mhm.
What is that? Okay. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can use something besides investigation. My investigation is incredibly poor, and my focus is incredibly poor.
I can help, but only a little.
To the previous piece, I feel like it's important to know like kind of what all the refugees brought along. Do you have an idea of what they actually brought here? Like we saw the
The sort of stuff that you might want to have at a restaurant, per se.
yeah, so the supplies are heavily food in nature, and then everybody with trade skills probably about their trade skill tools, but not their workshop like tools. Meaning a blacksmith that has his hammer, but not his anvil. Which would push toward the earlier thing why you can't use a textile shop because they don't. You'd have to retrofit the entire shop to work for that.
My concern is that they won't be an option because weaponsmiths and armorsmiths are in high demand. Anyone with a sense of business would have shifted over to that sort of production if they had the tools necessary.
Unless they suck.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless they're bad at it.
Never underestimate the potential of somebody sucking.
Yeah, which it sounds like there is one of those.
I'm
We
going
just
to
need to find
feel really dumb when you tell us what this is because I cannot come up with this business.
yeah, I'm trying to think of kind of want to figure a way of using crime because I wanted like for some reason I was like thinking of a talent or something like through the loophole. Yeah.
That's kind of why I was thinking like we have to kind of split it
Yeah.
if it's possible.
What we should actually do is get everybody who's going to be involved, which is basically everybody that's currently in the camps right now, and maybe the miller, although I don't know what the miller's going to be doing other than helping fund this. Um, to go around and scout the locations that we find.
Um,
And have them present what they think their potential is based off of their expertise, essentially.
Also, can I go off to the miller to discuss this?
After a little bit of consideration, I'm trying to figure. Like, I sort of like want to have a feat to like be able to find like the exact documents, but I want to burn it because Glup has a character point right now. I
And
was trying to think if there was.
do you have advantage right now, or
Uh,
disadvantage?
do I have advantage or disadvantage? This is my guild. Um,
What traits does Glup have?
Play as kite, fresh hatch, fresh adventure. He has a bunch in trade and crime.
Henri has a talent around negotiating, like a negotiation mastery. I don't know if that helps. Maybe if there's someone here that we can like negotiate with to get the information.
Sure. Yeah, like we can do that.
Sure. Or I was wondering if like I can just negotiate just to get the information from them, but maybe they need to do the research to find the information first. Hell yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I get it. Like negotiate with them to get it, but then they don't have it offhand. They have to actually go spend a day to get it. Cool. So Henri's going to be, I guess, on the lookout to try and find someone in the records department, I guess. that Cool. Yeah, I'll head there and basically just appeal to them. So hey, I have some friends who were recently displaced. Um, you might have seen the moon fall to the sky, kind of a big deal. It left a lot of my friends kind of in a rough situation. They're really super skilled, and we're looking for a place for them to kind of rekindle their business. So we're looking for like maybe an old blacksmith shop that's no longer in use that has the things that a blacksmith might need, like fire, and a forge and that sort of thing. Would you happen to be able to find that information for me? There's not a lot going on right now. I was kind of hoping you might be able to do it. Let's see. I do have some valuable coins. So maybe I need to look up how this works, but how does the talent work? I do not. I have I took with gifted, the lineage gifted, I took a negotiation mastery. Correct. Which might still require money, maybe, but I just wasn't sure how to execute it.
Well, I do have money.
So I don't think it's described. I think I might have just picked it. So the world is our oyster, maybe. Got it. Yeah, sounds good. I probably should have looked ahead. I didn't realize I was going to need to define something for it. Yeah, I believe so.
My initial thought would be that any deal that could be conceivably viewed as fair, um, would automatically be accepted, but that would just be my guess.
Well, there's always we have money talks. Is that
Is that what
What does it
well,
mean
my thought
for
would
something to
just
have a
be
plus
any
one?
my thought was that it would be applied to just anything where you are not necessarily trade like money, but would be just negotiating a deal. Anytime you offer a fair deal. So, like, if you offered to be this guy's, like, personal clerk for a day, for example, in exchange for him doing this right now for you, that could conceivably be viewed as a fair deal. There wouldn't need to be a roll or anything to be made. It's my idea. Right.
What does it mean to gain a plus one T bonus for a turn? Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at other masteries. Like if we were to like define it comparably to other masteries, it looks like you pay one tax and then also get a threshold. I suppose it could tax a skill or an aptitude. So like, uh, got it. Great, cool. Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. That's kind of where I was going with this character. So if we were to define it, like basically just for the sake of time, we can just define it like other masteries. I have to tax something like trade, and then get one threshold, And then I guess it's a trade roll.
And then we can pay the difference.
Got it. A 2 what? Great. That would be valuable coin. Wonderful. Okay, cool. Uh Wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna go with then a trade roll. Do I roll the number of dice prior to taxing? For the threshold, can you remind me what I put T5? All right. Um, and then I guess Tice's character is with me too. I don't know if there's any help you might provide.
I can provide financial aid.
Okay, cool. Um,
The
let's
only other
see
thing
what it comes.
yeah. The only other thing I can provide is like some kind of like, oh, didn't I see you do this thing? But yeah, that probably doesn't help in this situation.
Well, I'll go ahead and roll and we'll see how it goes. I'm rolling trade and cunning. Does that make sense? Did I do that wrong? I sure did. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of like since I've worked there for like one day, so like maybe I learned something about this person and I'm using that in this social situation to kind of, you know, get get on their good side. I don't know. Um, I guess so. I guess we could just like yeah, let's retcon that I while I was there yesterday, basically I was helping in the records department. I'm like, hey, I did a ton of data entry for you yesterday. I made your life easier. You know, interns, free labor. Like I think, you might know me a little bit here.
Yeah, and I'll slip in a golden ring to expedite it. Oh no, I'm paying to add an extra success to potentially help expedite it.
It sounds like there's not, I don't know, a way to expedite it quicker than one day, right? Yeah, you might as well save your ring.
I'll, I'll give a thing for it. Yeah, if it's not going to expedite it, then nah, I gotta keep it.
Yeah, that was my thought, was just get people from a village to go do House hunting. Business hunt. Location hunting? I don't know how you would call it.
Yes. I don't mind. I worked on a boat yesterday. And I'll do as much on my own as I possibly can. And yeah, so I'll ask, how have things been since you've been back? That would be good. Of course not. That is very complicated, though. I worked on I worked out at the fishing guild recently, but maybe that's not for me. We'll see what comes in the future. Oh yes, we know. From what I've talked with everybody, buried treasure means pirate. Um, but yes, they definitely know their what they're doing, but it's not so much tinkering that I'd like. Also, I was at the are we calling it a refugee camp? It seems awful to say that. I was with the other people that came from Oakbrine, and the rest of the kids are working on kind of building out this idea of getting everybody a business running. Well, what they were thinking, and meta wise, was this still we're trying to get everybody as a like a unit, or where did we land on that? I feel like
Araxi is a strong believer in the community. I'll let you decide how much that has swayed you as a character. But the entire time that you have been around Araxi, she has been going on about how great it is that the community is all going to pitch in and take care of each other.
okay, yeah, I have to think about how I would assess that, but it doesn't hurt to mention it. One of the ideas floating around was to have the village together to present like their different trades and things to bring everybody to bring other people in, but but uh, supply a multitude of skills and capabilities and stuff. Well, I wonder if Willica would fit into that same concept. Like you said, they need money to run their instead of their livestock. So even Willica here would be the trade, and the trade would be the money. And so any of our trades, so we have Willica, we have blacksmiths, we have such, those are the trade. And then we need the people that now have to work not on livestock, but need storage instead. And so we have a part of the city that's good for the cold. And so Willica and your investment in Willica could be toward the trade part of building that circle you talked about. It's not important. It's not important to what we're doing here. Right. So if we could build something in the cold and something nearby, and we have plenty of people to move it between the two.
Of course, you would know that.
Excellent. Is there any jewelry smith that's on the verge of going out of business that we're doing a lot of collections for? Got it. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize the list was already ones that were out of business. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your help.
Yes. Potentially we can find out which ones are near close to the cold.
Yeah, I'd say let's take this info back to the group so we can kind of join forces.
So after
Yeah, when Henri arrives, he'll kind of just share like the addresses of the jewelers that are out of business.
um s- so my thought essentially, um assuming that this all has been shared, is we can um take try and get like one of the cold spot zones to be storage, like one of the old blacksmithing stuff. Move anything that's still relevant to blacksmithing from there to one of these jewelry stores to try and buy out jewelry store as a place to start at least.
Yeah, no, I returned and shared as well. I'm with that. I think the idea is to have like you have the storefront in the, let's call it the warm. You have the storefront in the warm. Yeah, you have the front and the warm, and you can build whatever else you want out of that. You can build the inn style or the restaurant or the trades that are the storefront, and then anything needs to be cold is there, and then anybody that needs to go between, we have plenty.
Like if we were really lucky, there would be a jeweler on the verge of the cold, and we could potentially, uh, with the help of Penkel and a few other people, make an underground attachment between the two places.
I feel like that's dangerous. But I think a goal should definitely be from um, my side story is that we do want to loop something that makes sense for getting the herbalist set up, because that'll bring something in.
I think the herbalist and the blacksmith are what are going to be the initial money makers. This is out of character now. I think that would be like the initial money characters, and then there being food off on offer right there. Suddenly, we're driving traffic to this area. There's going to be people who are hungry. People always are hungry, and then from there, the others can kind of either work there. Like I'm sure Penkel can get some scheme up and running. The sheriff can be security, you know.
I do think we kind of have an opportunity here if we're in a area that's maybe not up and coming yet. We know it will be once the blacksmith gets there, so we could potentially open up other businesses that would thrive during a time like this. This would also be very fulfilling for any of the shopkeepers that get to then run the business that they're used to running. Like I'm thinking of like Grammy would love to have to be able to cook for people.
Of course, we're the only ones that get the freebies.
And we can all pool the money and go rebuild the town when the war's over.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Exactly.
I don't think yet.
Probably not. Maybe. And there was a. He would know that was some sort of a wizard fight. That's basically as far as he's.
So we have to try to figure out how to deal with this. Like, do we know if that building is safe? Yeah, but I'm like have they determined that people can't be like turned and catch cinder from that?
I, f- I feel like it wouldn't be left unattended if you could.
Yeah.
Then again, it is probably best to be safe.
Yeah. Also, we just need to basically bury all the ash.
Yeah.
Just don't touch the ash.
Okay, then we can probably build an inn or something. Um. Okay. How often is the cold area watched? Like, is there? Ah, yes, because I'm curious exactly like um, is there guards nearby? Yeah, because I was curious exactly how often people go through the cold area. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for your time. Go back to group. I'm like, I don't know if anyone else wants to do. I'll do a little bit of scouting in the cold area. I'm curious because out of character. I'm basically seeing if there's anything still left of value in the cold area where people are like not walking by, like maybe those empty smith areas. So might be able to return some of the stuff to help us like either sell or use to help fund us. And I'll tell Pinkel about my plan. Do I get any pips from that, or? I do not. I have a lot of ability to climb things and swim. Oh yeah, climbing and stuff. So if like there's a bunch of rubble, I can like get around it a lot easier. I'm a frog after all. All right. Yeah. I'll tell Panko that I haven't found anything, but I think some other people he should get a couple of people to potentially find other stuff. I can't stand in that area.
Be able to have like multiple different businesses.
It's one of
Ooh,
those shopping malls.
we could
Or
do a
not
rooftop
strip malls.
garden.
Well, could we put something on the side of that roof to cover to protect it from the smoke? Yeah. Probably the restaurant will be on the second floor.
I think you do storefronts, and then like tables in the middle, and the restaurant serves that.
Well, we could have it. It would be a little annoying, but we could have the kitchen on the second floor, and like have wait staff because you've got a lot of people from the town that, a lot of kids.
So I have an idea here. What we do is we have on the first floor we have like the stuff that we like the cheese people and the stuff on that floor. That and they bring it. They like have a like conveyor like something that
Dumbwaiter.
lift up the food dumbwaiters to bring it up into the kitchen. And if we have the stores on the very top, so when people go to the stores, they have to go through the kitchen area, and if they smell the delicious food, they will potentially eat more food before they go and shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
stores
stores
on
are
the
on the
floor.
ground floor, but you walk in there because you smelled something good, and then you catch your eye on something.
You got to think about how IKEA is laid out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
So
food is in
so
the
you
middle.
Oakbrine IKEA.
There's a
Exactly.
little. There's a middle stall, and then that's the food. There's just chairs all around it. Actually, I don't know how IKEA is set up.
Yeah, I have no idea. So you'd want to have the stores on the second floor?
I was kind of joking, but there is an IKEA near me where like they have like a dining area, but you have to like literally go through the maze of the entire store just
Well,
to like go get the food.
yeah,
Oh,
you smell something good. but you get called in the store with all the stuff that has umlauts over it for no reason.
God, I was thinking of fries, where there's like a cafe restaurant, like right in the center of it. Um,
But yeah,
Yeah, isn't that what
separate building is like a
the
connecting door, maybe?
if
yeah,
any of the heat from the forge is the oven for the kitchen.
isn't that why
Terrible. I was
we
just joking. I was not. I was just making a joke. It's not.
yeah, anyway, isn't the jewelry store where the smithy's gonna be anyway? This is like another part, like a separate building anyway.
Uh,
Because connecting doors buys space, and the more space we have to build it, essentially.
Though I like the idea of using the furnace, like the forge as something else. We could potentially um, I don't know if anyone like with the herbalists and stuff, we could potentially create like a spa and use the heat from the furnace from the forge to heat the waters and stuff.
What does that have to do with a herbalist?
Well, because herbalists have like a bunch of like
You also
I
got
don't
me to
know.
say
It was an idea.
herbalist.
It was an idea. It was like
We are
it was
children.
like
We are allowed to have ideas that don't practically work.
I'm just
Well, the jewelry store is a smith forge, right? So that can be a pure smithery. That doesn't need to necessarily be connected, but you could connect the storefront into the other building.
uh, is there a basement to this place?
do we need to also have places for these people to live in this building? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the total count of like how many rooms, I guess, or like how many businesses, and then optionally how many uh living spaces.
Yeah. Well, if
We
people
do
are
have a
not
lot.
I think you start with business and then figure out living
like
after that, because they're living in the camps right now.
like if you really want to if they don't care about like being like being near the like in the, at the edges of the cold front, there's probably a lot of places there that are empty currently in the cold front where we could use it as a storage area and then have a building beside it where people sleep and stuff.
That seems cruel. Sleep in the perpetually
Like,
ice
I would
zone.
rather restore the basement, just put beds down there until people have enough that they could, rent an apartment, essentially.
Well, they can sleep in. They can sleep where they are now, right? Like that's set up. They're okay. They can sleep there. They have to move into here to work. And they go back to sleep. That I don't think living is crazy.
Yeah, once the financial status goes through, we can.
Yeah, I think that's a secondary.
I guess we have this pretty good proposition. We go to talk to the miller again.
Well, I can help with the. I can help with the contracting stuff. They've waived a lot of fees these days for new business licenses.
We should all put together like an agreement that we have like it's owned by the Oakbrine Restoration Fund or something.
Yeah, we just have to outroll Penkel.
I'm gonna assist Penkel.
Araxi has very little relevant ability. But we should all like have this be like owned by the a community fund.
And Glup.
uh Raxi's kind of like looking towards the rest of the villagers for like support.
Yeah. Yeah. Good persuasion. Yeah. So I tell Pinkle. I mean, I kind of shrug and say, I mean, if you want full control of the business, I guess I guess that's one way to do it. Don't know if that's how I'd go about it, but I mean, yeah. He's Reggie says, "Oh no, I 100% agree with you there. I'm just saying, like, liability and all that. I mean, if you own all of it, then you own all the liability." Well, I mean, it's a business, right? So we're going to be building stuff, spending money, creating stuff, and I mean, the city's not exactly doing the best. So businesses accumulate debts. I mean, I kind of look around at the dilapidated area and I say, "Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for you to just go ahead and you just take that on. You seem to know what you're doing." Reggie says, "Sure, just you get some partners to sign on with you, maybe. Like the townsfolk could split it, and I think that might be actually might be reasonable. You would retain ownership, of course, like not ownership, but let's say executive control, right? But then for other things, like there would be other people that would have control of their particular domains. Kind of like a community fund, but it's like, but you'll have the best title. Well, I mean, the business technically has the money. If you start trying to take money out of the business, I mean, then you get into the thieves guild, and there's taxes to deal with, and the taxes are different for the business than they are for the individual. So you're going to want to put yourself on a salary, and we can all talk about this when we get to the rights and properties guild. It gets a little bit complicated once you get into the city. Um, Reggie understands these things roughly because he's heard his parents talking about them, but he has no idea what this is. He just doesn't think it's a good idea to give ultimate despotic power to anyone, including Penkel.
The
What about
o-
carpentry?
the only thing I think Araxi will do is be like an annoyed child who's very insistent that's written into the contract that profits from this will be used to rebuild the village if needed. Like Penko could twist that, however, but Araxi's like being a really annoyed child at the table.
Reggie says, I mean, writing in charity into the contract and being really big and explicit about it, that's a really good way to drum up business in the middle of a war after a giant plague. It's just good business.
I kind of do want to uh,
Reggie shrugs and says, I mean, there's a war on. We're gonna rebuild a village. That's the goal of our business. I mean, who knows if there's going to be a village to rebuild?
yeah. I kind of want to like slip in some stuff of being like his co-CEO.
Penkel is your mentor, right? This is the character at Penkel's mentoring.
Yeah, yeah, he's mentoring me.
Reggie seems very pleased with this. He thinks he's just like, yeah, a bunch of townsfolk from out in the country coming into the big city to fill a gap while everybody's out there doing the war effort. With the only real goal on their mind is just giving people something they don't see in the city very often. Good old country food and country crafts and artisanship, and they're really just trying to do it so they can rebuild their town. Nobody's giving you donations. Nobody's giving you handouts. You're pulling yourselves up by your bootstraps. I mean, we're a charity, so of course they give us donations. But we earn those donations.
Araxi leaps off excitedly and runs around to tell everybody.
Yeah, I'm vice president.
And she's talking to a child who just told her that they're the vice president.
Araxi's telling Miss Fable, the community all came together and they did something. An older Araxi will realize what just happened.
Penkel is nowhere to be seen.
Oh yeah. One thing before I forget to tell Miss Maybell is well, I guess Elros will tell them because everyone's back there. Elros will mention that there's a family restaurant of skulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to find ways of using my vice presidency in some way.
Quick question before we wrap up. Are we going to resolve Whoppy's like special thing um at the beginning of next session or do it now? I promise, Miss Mabel, we won't. Whoppy promises.
I mean, that's totally not going to happen.
Whoppy will technically abide by Miss Mabel's request. But she never specified what was the dangerous bit. And the dangerous bit for Whoppy is reading a bunch of books.
That is excellent.
Yeah, but she was talking about withdrawing the spirit from the troll. But I don't know what would happen if we were to transfer all of the staff into the troll.
Whoppy has like the magical inklings to probably be able to research at the library at some point. The question is, can Whoppy actually do that? Or will Whoppy yeah. That would put me in an awkward situation where I feel like I might need to have 2 characters active for that.
Yeah, definitely. I think we really lucked out this time because we had just the right group of people to be able to pull off what we did.
We lucked out because Reggie was there, and Reggie knows how this it has interest in this sort of thing.
Yeah, that
It's
was like
pretty much a
perfect.
Reggie session.
Yeah.
All I've got is propriety and persuasion.
Luckily, we were able to get Penkel to help us.
I do also have smuggle. I do have that talent. I do. I haven't used it, but it's available.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Raxi's like too young and not fully formed an ideology to realize that what you were suggesting and what she wanted were different things.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what kind of tests could one pass or try to take? Both of mine were at the essay.
That's right. They have like headers now. It's like a
Yeah,
folder,
okay,
but it's
I'm in.
prefix.
Is there a cost to attempting these tests? Okay. So you can't trade in that case. Or all right. Well, I wasn't planning on trading with Nest anyway, so I feel like I might as well roll for one that I could have that I theoretically can pass if I can roll high enough.
Yeah, I'm currently looking at with the Elros probably 110.
And then are the circles the rank of the spell? Can you jump right to like a rank 2 or above? Or do you have to like progressively get each rank? Hmm. I was thinking about the rank of the spell. So like take I'm just gonna pick a random spell. I don't know if it has multiple ranks, but like light, rank 1. In order to get to rank 3, do I also need to go through rank 2 first? Well, no, I know. I'm sorry. I don't actually know what ranks of what spells there are. Let me pick a real. I see a spell here called Delterra's Emergency Rescue second rank. Can I just go straight to that without ever having first rank? Makes sense.
And we're going to be doing all of this as start of next session, basically. All right. All right. Cool. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to like lose the opportunity to have Nest test for the thing I wanted to test for. Yeah, all together. The only reason I asked on Wappy was specifically because I feel like if it was labeled rest, we might forget. Because I think both Wappy and Nest that next session will want to actually go out and deal with this troll vision or at least address it in some way.
The problem is no matter how we decide to do things, we will blend things. It'll just happen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, these kids are all growing up together. It is, I don't think, inconceivable that sometimes we will have two-player characters who are deeply interested in one thing, maybe for different reasons.
Yeah. Also, I'm curious exactly when the character is with being able to see in the future how they're going to do if they're ever going to use that for test purposes. I know the exact answers, so I know I can go into the future where I pass this test.
You foresee your grading sheet. Because I unlocked another trait with my potential. I gave Nest dedicated study, which I think would play right into that. Because I have multiple catalysts, so I have an extra trait.
Oh, traits! Totally forgot. If you get another potential, you can get a trait.
Well, you get our catalyst, but yeah. I said potential, I meant catalyst.
Ah.
So Nest has two different catalysts, the revelation from future sight and I chose enlightenment for the esoteric one, so I had an extra trait I could use.
It's a bit of a paradox in there. Just like a little bit. You would do the studies, but now you have future sight. So would you have done the
If
studies?
I feel like but isn't that not doing the studies though? Because I am learning that information by using future sight.
Yeah, which dimensional self learned the studies that you killed and then stole the studies from? And then their dimensional self did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what
Just as
happens
long as you're
after?
not the chump that's doing the writing.
Also thinks just baseballs.
Oh, really? They're finally making something.
Okay. Well, y'all have a good night.
Yep, yep.
Um, I'm kind of astonished that Mel Brooks is still alive. I just had to Google that.
He's immortal.